Father Mike, take two.
Hi, my name's Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So, a little while ago, we did a bit on the internet's most asked questions for priests, and I thought, why not do some more questions? I think that'd be a great idea. Okay, the very first question is, how do priests make holy water? They bless the hell out of it. There's a prayer of blessing, and then, they invoke the name of the Lord, Father, Son, Holy Spirit over the water, and it's a prayer. Are priests celibate? What does celibate mean? It means don't get married and don't engage in the activities that only married couples should engage in. So yes, priests make a promise of celibacy to not get married and to have, platonic relationships with people, but not romantic relationships with people. Are priests allowed to drink? Great question. Well, they better, or else they'll die. Hydrate or dihydrate? Oh, you mean alcohol. I get it. Sorry. Yes, they're allowed to drink in the same way that any other human being of legal age is allowed to drink, responsibly, as they say. We actually made a video about this when it comes to how do Catholics drink and how do we have to be on guard against that. Just like any other human being, priests are human beings. And so just like every person has to guard against overindulging in alcohol, priests need to guard against overindulging in alcohol, especially since sometimes if you're with your family, they can be like, "Hey there, buddy, is that one too many?" If a priest's living alone, no one's there to say, "Hey, buddy," so he's got to have some good boundaries and some good accountability because, as we know, every human being has a proclivity to do the wrong thing, and so what we want to do, priests, is we want to help him out, and he needs to be on guard against himself. Against himself. Probably won't include that because that was a little rant on the... Where do priests live? Some priests live in community. So some priests live in a monastery, that kind of situation. Some priests live in community, like in homes. And so there are a number of even diocesan priests who have a kind of a collegial community where they've decided in their diocese that they're always going to live with brothers. And they find that really helps them continue to pray, helps them have balanced, healthy lives, helps them continue to do the ministry well. A lot of priests live on their own, and when they're living on their own, they live in what they call a rectory. Typically, it's either a church attached to a house attached to the church, or apartment attached to the church, or nearby the church, so they have access to whenever someone needs them. Do priests go to confession? They should. For crying out loud. Father, if you're watching this right now and you haven't been to confession in at least 3 weeks, you need to. Absolutely. I probably go to confession at least once every 2 weeks, probably. And a lot of my brothers who I know are priests, so we help each other out and I want to be as available as possible for each other. I'm so grateful for the priests who are willing to hear my confession, both before I was a priest, in seminary, and now that I've been a priest. It's a great way that I think we not only demonstrate that we need the sacrament, but it really is actually a pretty vulnerable place, right? Because I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you've gone to confession and you're like, okay, I hope the priest doesn't recognize my voice. So you're like, "Hello, bless me, Father, I've seen. Mike, is that you?" Yes. It is a great witness, not only of our need for, everyone needs God's grace, but also a fantastic opportunity to just be brothers for each other as well. So yeah, priests go to confession. Are monks and friars priests? Great question. Some monks are priests, and some priests are monks. But not all monks are priests, and not all priests are monks. Let's give an example of a Benedictine. So Benedictines are a particular kind of religious community. They're all brothers, they're all monks, right? And some are monks that have been ordained, so they're priests. But not everyone in the community has been ordained, typically. And yeah, there you go. Does that make sense? Do priests take a vow of poverty? Great question, camper. Depends on what kind of priest you are. If you are a religious priest, like you're part of a religious community, in which one of their vows is a vow of poverty, then the answer is yes, you do. If you are a priest, like a diocesan priest from the diocese, that's where you get the word diocesan, like I am, you don't take a vow of poverty, you take a promise of simplicity, which is different and more vague and more flexible. That's why I drive a Hummer. Just kidding. So priests, what they do is they take a promise of simplicity, and that promise of simplicity is that they make a promise that they will live a simple life that won't be extravagant, so won't have extravagant living quarters, won't have extravagant vehicles, won't have extravagant lifestyle. So a vow of simplicity, or promise of simplicity. Where do priests go to school? They go to preschool. They go to a place called seminary, not cemetery. He goes to 4 years of what they call undergraduate seminary, where he studies philosophy and some other things like that. He continues, he goes to 4 years roughly of what they call theology or major seminary. That's kind of the general gist. By the way, I'm in a seminary right now. It's St. Charles Borromeo Seminary in Philadelphia, PA. It is an incredible facility, incredible building, and with so much richness. I guess the Pope was here once. Where do priests go when they retire? It all depends where they're from. If they're from northern Minnesota, they go to Arizona. Just kidding. Sometimes they retire and they move south because, you're old. We have a lot of priests in our diocese, at least, who they're retired, meaning they're not like full-time pastors, like having to manage the entire parish, but they help like every day or they help every weekend in parishes all over my diocese and all over the country, probably, parishes that just, they need help. I think the goal of a lot of priests is to, what they say, die with your boots on. They want to keep serving until they can't serve anymore. Why do priests wear a collar? No, I heard it was this. I heard that back in the day in Europe somewhere, this kind of collar would indicate that you were a professor at like a university. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, wearing a certain, like a stripe on your sleeve that would say I'm a general or, I'm a lieutenant kind of a thing. So this kind of collar would say that you teach at a university. It just happened that a lot of people who taught at universities were clerics or were priests. And so then I think they just kind of like went out and spread so that that more meant you're a priest, not just you're a professor at a university. Now, I read that somewhere or heard it somewhere, and I'm going to continue to perpetuate that, even if it's not true. This is the internet. Why not? What do priests say at weddings? Marriage. Marriage is what bring priests. I don't know. They say that here's Jack, here's Jill. So that's basically, I don't know, maybe more or less everything that I know. If you want me to make more videos on any of those topics or any other topics, put them in the comments below, and I don't know, it'll be on my assignment list, on my to-do list real soon. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. And also, thank you for those comments. From all of us here at Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless.